So today we need our lesson 15 story packet that I sent home with you over break again. And today we're focusing on reading with expression and creating suspense with our dialogue. So we've talked a lot this year about how it's not just the words that we say, it's how we say them when we're using fluent reading. And especially with the text in this lesson that we've been using, it's about two men who are looking for lost treasure. Because that's a fiction story and there's a lot of dialogue in there, the author creates suspense with the dialogue that they include. So that's what the characters are saying to one another. And as a reader, we really have to be paying attention to the tone and the mood of the story that the author has created. So that way, when we are reading, we're matching our voice to the emotions, that mood, that tone that the author is creating. Because it wouldn't make sense for a story to have a lot of suspense and be kind of scary or what is going to happen next, and to read the text with a happy-go-lucky kind of tone of voice. We got to make sure that the two match. So when we're looking at this story in particular, there's kind of like two parts to the story. The first part of the story, the author is just describing what's happening between the two characters, but then it switches where the author is actually using dialogue and we're hearing the men speak to one another. So it's almost like we were watching the story from a distance, and then once the author starts to use dialogue, it's like we're thrown right into the scene as it's happening. We get a lot better sense of what the characters' emotions are and what the mood is for the story. So I want you to really look at the dialogue between the two men. And the words the men say are nothing special, but it's how they say the words that creates the mood. And especially as you are the reader using your fluent reading skills, the way that you read the story is going to create the mood of the story. So I want you to read the sentence that's in bold on that page 71 and read it without any feeling or expression like me. I see something. Blah. Does not want you, if you read something like that, I see something. It doesn't really make you want to read more. It doesn't really make you want to know what a character has seen. But now we're going to read that same sentence, but we're going to read it as if we were scared or nervous and didn't want the something to hear us. So let's try it again. I see something. I see something. Totally different, right? So now that we've read it in that way, how about as if we were surprised and had a lot of joy? I see something. Go on, read it that way too. I see something. The way we have read that sentence, those three different ways, blah, as if we were scared, and as if we were excited, totally changes the mood and the feeling of the story. So again, writers use dialogue to create suspense, especially the author of this story. And when you read the characters' words, you put in the feeling and expression yourself rather than just being told how they felt. You have to include that emotion with your voice. So I want you to compare these two ways of saying the same thing. The first one is kind of ho-hum, and the other one creates suspense. Old Jim told Dave to look up ahead. Dave wondered what it was he was to look at. Kind of blah. But now the author uses dialogue and it creates much more suspense. And you'll also notice that the punctuation that the author's included in there also helps to show that emotion with the exclamation points and the question marks. Dave, up ahead, look, old Jim's voice sang out. What? What is it? He called back. So again, once the author included that dialogue and that special punctuation, really changed the mood of the story. So now I want you to complete the try it part of your page and have some fun creating different moods with dialogue. So at the bottom of the page is dialogue from the story, and I want you to think about what Dave might have seen through the binoculars that he thinks is so unbelievable. All we know is that it is something unexpected. Is it something wonderful, scary, amazing, horrifying? You get to use your imagination. Then I want you to read the dialogue by yourself or with like one of your parents at home several times. And each time I want you to read it to express a different feeling based on their reaction to what they see. I hope you enjoy our lesson for today. Can't wait to see you. Bye.